फास्टेस्ट क्रिकेट स्कोर अपडेट्स या सबसे डिटेल्ड स्टैट्स,
क्रिकेट के अंदर बाहर की खबरें
या हेल्दी डिबेट्स,
सबसे एक्यूरेट एनालिसिस
या फैंस का क्रेज, सबके लिए एक ही प्लेटफॉर्म, क्योंकि क्रिकेट मतलब क्रिकेट नेक्स्ट।
Hello everyone, you're watching Cricket Next. I am Surama Kaushik. Now after Ranchi, Cricket Next team has reached Dharamshala in the hills. Cricket Next correspondent Sahil Malhotra is all packed and he's saying that chilly, rainy weather awaits the fifth test. Well, let's quickly hear out from Sahil Malhotra. Sahil, कितनी layers आपने पहनी है और क्या तैयारी करके आपने रखी है fifth test की? And are you sending all those chilly vibes to Jamie and me?
I don't know. I'm not too big on layers, that's for sure. So I'm just wearing my usual Delhi layers here as well. But it is cold there. The weather forecast continues to say 5 degrees, 6 degree, but it definitely feels colder than that. And primarily because of the chilly wind, which kind of continues to blow. And there are different phases of the weather, and we have seen quite a few today. When we started the day and kind of were approaching Dharamshala, you would be aware about the landscape when we kind of get through those busy markets and the schools which you kind of get past. So wahan pe it was kind of nice and warm. We literally had the AC on in the car, but 10 minutes later, the moment we entered Dharamshala, were approaching our accommodation, it became chilly. We ordered lunch, it was fine, we had the sunglasses on, but by the time the lunch arrived, we had the woolen beanies out. So again, weird tricks happening here. And yesterday also it was similar, right? We went to the venue for half an hour and we were seeing what's happening there. So it was slightly on the damp front. There was some work undergoing at the practice facility because the region received a lot of rainfall yesterday, and there was that spell of hailstorm too. So बारिश तो हुआ कल बहुत solid, और but आज start was very nice and warm, nice and pleasant. So let's see which Dharamshala wakes up tomorrow, which mood we see tomorrow. But this is going to be the flavor of the match, and the fickle nature of the weather is going to be at its best for the 5 days, and there's going to be rain for sure.
Yeah, well, there was this one graphic on our screen. Perhaps it was actually yes, it was from AccuWeather. If we go on this, 7th March, that's Thursday, 7 degree, and showers are expected on that day. Jamie, how difficult will it be for all the players, to get accustomed to this weather, especially when the match day will begin? That's on 7th of March, because we're expecting rainfall also. So how difficult it's going to be for the cricketers?
It'll be this is the best thing England could have wanted. They've lost the series. They come from a country where it's cold and grey and damp. They'll be so at home. I'm still wondering which genius scheduled this fifth test match in the first week of March in Dharamshala. हमारे वाले तो फिर भी I mean, look, the series has won. I mean, our interest has really dipped. I'm just feeling bad for Ashwin, man. Imagine his 100 test match. A guy from Chennai, most cold, soggy condition for him to be welcomed into, only 13 players before him. Baki match mein kya ho, I really couldn't care, because the goal was to beat England and we have done that really well. But I just feel bad for Ashwin. Yeah, imagine sitting there, 100 test match or match hi na ho. Pretty gloomy, for him.
Yeah. And with that, I also want to know from Sahil. Sahil, what will be a great combination of the team for this fifth test match? Everybody knows that it's going to be 100th for our Ashwin. But do you see a place for him in the 11?
Yeah, for sure. R. Ashwin should be one of the first few names on the team sheet, irrespective of what's happening above, because this has been the nature of this Dharamshala pitch. Last 4 Ranji Trophy games, if you see them closely, yes, the seamers have enjoyed success, but the batters, when you've kind of applied yourself and survived that little period of play, you can definitely score runs. And there were nearly a couple of double hundreds एक ही inning के अंदर during that game between Baroda and Himachal Pradesh. Delhi went on to score runs at over 6 and over in their second innings versus Himachal Pradesh, which was probably the last fixture at this venue around a month back. So मतलब runs तो है यहाँ पे, और मतलब don't just get carried away by what's happening above. It will have some say on what's happening below, but not completely dictate how the pitch is going to behave. आज भी from some distance We had a little aerial view of the pitch. Itna kuch nahi dikha dur se, but it was kind of standing out between that lush green outfield. So typical Indian look from some distance, to say the least. But it's not going to be like a seeming swinging English paradise, which English players would be hoping for. But वो थोड़ा रूट शॉक तो मिलने वाला है. विकेट तो वैसा ही रहेगा जैसा यहाँ पे 4 रणजी ट्रॉफी मैच में दिखा है.
Okay. Well, as Jamie said, Sunil Gavaskar also said the same. He said that these conditions are ideal for all England players, and the conditions are more English than Indian. So England might be very happy, and they might be enjoying the weather there. Srini, yes, you're all packed up in this jacket, big jacket. Are you enjoying the weather in Dharamshala?
I mean, considering that I come from Bombay, where we don't really understand the word cold, this is cold for me. Whether it's 5 degrees, 7 degrees, 8 degrees, 11 degrees, 12 degrees, it's cold for me. But again, I mean, I drove from Delhi to Dharamshala, and on the way, I was tracking the weather. What I had in
Yeah.
mind, what I was understanding for the last 48 hours about what was happening here, and how I was mentally prepared vis-a-vis what I saw when I arrived here, were two different things. Because the sun was out. The most important thing was the sun was out in parts, in phases, but the sun was out. The last 48 hours, there have been rains and steady rains here, which is what have made the conditions extremely cold here. In fact, it's very interesting. Like 10 kilometers, around 10 kilometers upwards of the Himachal Pradesh Cricket Association stadium, it's been sleeting and there's been snowfall, like 10 kilometers upwards when you go towards McLeodganj.
Yeah.
But below, if you stay in Dharamshala, there's been no snowfall, there's been no sleeting, but it's only been the rain. And
Yeah.
but that's added to the wind, and that's what has made this cold unbearable. Now, the good thing, what happened today when we arrived here, is that it did not rain. Because it did not rain, and because the sun came out, so that
Hmm.
made things relatively warmer. There's no saying what tomorrow is going to be like. There's no saying what
Yeah.
your next 1 hour going to be like, right?
Yeah.
So I think I was when this test match came to mind, I wondered if in India, is there any other venue where the weather can be as fickle as it is in Dharamshala. So yeah, this is
Hmm.
again one of its kind experience for test cricket lovers in India.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Now, Jamie, as from the start of this slideshow, we're just talking about Dharamshala's weather and how unpredictable it is. What should be India's plan? Because you never know what will happen on day one, and if the test match goes till day five, you don't know the conditions. You just know that it's going to be cold. It's not going to be hot, but it might be sunny on few days. It might rain also. So, keeping all these things in mind, what should be an ideal 11 for Team India? What India should think of right now?
Me?
Yeah, yeah, Jamie, you.
I just think if it's going to be so gloomy and the ball is going to get wet and damp, they're going to drop probably Kuldeep Yadav, because if you have to go with two spinners, it's the ones who have a more traditional grip on the ball will obviously stand to do better. It's very tough being a Chinaman. Control becomes a nightmare on such conditions. Yes, he took 4 wickets there 6 years ago, but I think right now the big discussion point is if it's going to be wet and gloomy, even for one day, 1.5 days, there's no point playing a third spinner. So I think Bumrah comes back. Akashdeep gets a second match based on the potential of that one day. Then it's a toss up. Mohammad Siraj has played 4 test matches in a row. Do you want to rest him? Do you want to go to Mukesh Kumar? I definitely think it'll be 3 pacers and 2 spinners. Otherwise, no need to change anything.
Three pacers and two spinners. Sahil, we know Jasprit Bumrah will be joining the team and he'll be there for the fifth test match. In such a scenario, do you see Siraj sitting out and Bumrah just getting to lead the bowlers?
I think you should play all three. Like, kind of, why just kind of rest, rotate Mohammad Siraj? करना था तो पहले release कर देते, right? So I think you should go ahead with your three best seamers and just kind of don't release that foot off the accelerator, because 4-1 will definitely sound better than a 3-1, 3-1 or
Yeah.
a 3-2 result, right? And I completely agree with Jamie's comment on the Chinaman bit. I think that is that is going to be crucial, right? Because you wouldn't risk playing a Chinaman in these conditions, primarily because of the coldness and the gloominess which is around us, and just turning the ball using the wrist. It's going to be difficult for Kuldeep if it continues to stay the way it has been today. But again,
Hmm.
I am not kind of looking too far ahead, क्योंकि कल क्या होगा किसको पता, सुबह उठेंगे फिर धूप निकल जाएगी और परसों फिर ठंडा हो जाएगा, फिर मैच वाले दिन धूप निकल सकती है. अब लोकल तो मैं चेकआउट डेट मेरे से लिखवा रहे थे सुबह होटल के अंदर, तो मैंने कहा अभी चेकआउट डेट नहीं लिखूंगा, यहाँ तो गाड़ी लेके आए हैं, जब मैच खत्म होगा निकल जाएंगे. सर 5 दिन चलेगा, 7 को तो बारिश लिखा है. तो वो तो रिसेप्शन के ऊपर इतना कॉन्फिडेंस था उनको कि 7 को तो पूरा दिन बारिश. But again, anything can happen because the amount of rainfall it came yesterday. I was surprised to see the outfield in such good shape today. I kind of rubbed my
Hmm.
hand near the boundary ropes. I didn't feel anything wet on my palm, so it was in good shape. So ऐसा नहीं है कि मतलब कल हेलस्टॉर्म होने के बावजूद भी यहाँ पर आउटफील्ड पे उतना डैम्पनेस नहीं था. बट हाँ, प्रैक्टिस एरिया वाज डेफिनेटली इफेक्टेड. द सुपर सॉपर्स वर एट प्ले प्रैक्टिस एरिया के अंदर. सो लेट्स सी वहां पे कितना कल सुबह इम्पैक्ट पड़ता है. बट वील ओनली गेट अ क्लियर पिक्चर व्हेन वी वेक अप इन द मॉर्निंग नाउ. एंड देयर इज नो
Hmm. Will you
इलेक्ट्रिसिटी,
talk?
लेट्स वेट फॉर इलेक्ट्रिसिटी टू कम नाउ.
That's also a thing, when weather conditions are so unpredictable. But Sahil, you talked about, the outfield. Just because there is no electricity over there, I'll quickly take Jamie's answer, and then we'll come back to Sahil and Srini. Jamie, Sahil talked about the outfield. We know in ODI World Cup 2023, outfield was a major concern in Dharamshala. Everybody was talking about the outfield. Now, when Sahil's saying that, he didn't feel wet on his palms when he touched the grass out there, even after a day full of rainfall that happened yesterday. Do you think that a lot has been improved at HPCA? And when you have seen the visuals, because right now when we see the ground, it seems lush green out there. So do you think that the things have been improved and it's in a better condition than in what it was in October 2023?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think we've been reading a lot about this, and now Sahil has mentioned this. It's good to get that first hand report because even before the World Cup in October, about a year ago, February, March, I think of last year, that third test match, sorry, against Australia had to be shifted out
Yeah.
because of the same problem. So I'm glad to hear that there's no such fungal issue being raised now because the ground was not ready. It's lush.
Mm.
It'll always be lush because it's in one of the most beautiful parts. Forget India, one of the most beautiful parts of the world. So you're going to, I mean, just look at these pictures. I could watch these pictures all day long. It's just, and I had the privilege of going there for 2 matches. Absolutely outstanding ground, and
And
it's good.
these
I
are
would
pictures. Jamie, these pictures are taken today only. These pictures are sent by
imagine.
Sahil.
Outstanding. Let's hope it stays exactly like this for all 5 days of the scheduled test match. I think it'll probably might get over in 4 days if the weather stays good because India have that upper hand, especially with Bumrah coming back. But look, I would expect Tsunami the problems that plagued the HPCA Stadium in October when we saw tufts of dirt come up,
Yeah.
fielders diving and grass coming out. I would assume, despite the very harsh winter and extended late winter, these problems would have been solved. So if Sahil is saying that, hats off to everyone involved at the ground for getting it ready for a test match.
Well, absolutely. They did a lot of work for the World Cup matches as well, because at that point also, the outfield made a lot of headlines, and that has been the case where the HPCA, the Dharamshala Stadium, every time people go there, cricketers go there, outfield becomes a big, big concern. And I remember I was there for one match that was between Bangladesh and England, and England cricketers weren't happy at all with the outfield. But I'm sure that they might have, changed their views about the Dharamshala ground, because now it is a lot more in better condition. It was in great condition that then as well, but now it has changed, and it's looking really, really good. And let's just hope that sun shines in Dharamshala for the next 7 8 days. Now, I think electricity is back, so we'll get back Sahil and Srini. Sahil, you were just talking about the outfield. I want to have a quick take from you as well on the outfield, as you were talking that you didn't feel wet on your palms when you touched the grass. Do you think a lot has been changed from October 2023 to March 2024, because you were there in October that time?
No, but after that India New Zealand game, the World Cup game, I did go down to the boundary rope just to see how bad the outfield was. It was horrible. It was terrible. It wasn't even close to domestic standards. Just leave the
Mm.
international matches aside. It looked very, very ugly. I still have those pictures from the outfield, and it looked very patchy. And I was just telling Srini today that कि मतलब boundary से आप 10 यार्ड अंदर तक आप वो patches देख सकते थे. We were discussing where Mujib fell, and that
Yeah.
particle of the outfield actually came off during that England Afghanistan game at the venue. And it was in a very, very bad shape. So kudos to them for doing the work which they did. And they have a very subtly placed, circular astroturf, which is like right near the advertising billboards now, like the advertising boards now. So that's extending the green look to the surface, to the outfield. And plus they've done a lot of work with the outfield, because last year it was unfortunate because the amount of rain the region received, it was not expected. And the fungus kind of creeped into the grass, and all sorts of things happened. They weren't
Yeah.
prepared for so much rainfall, and they didn't have enough reaction time to do damage control. But now, with the domestic season, Ranji trophies happening later in the domestic season, they got enough time to react and relay the areas which were of concern. And right now it looks green. I watched the Delhi Himachal Pradesh game live on Jio Cinema 2, and I saw that कोई आपको ऐसा पैच उस गेम में भी नहीं दिखा था. एंड आज तो मैंने खुद देखा कि इट वाज एब्सोल्युटली ग्रीन. मैं तो तोड़ के भी देखा कि असली नकली है. वो तोड़ के भी वैसे किया, वो एकदम करेक्ट घास है जैसा होना चाहिए था.
Which means this time around, England cricketers won't be talking much about the outfield. I was just, sharing what England cricketers said about the outfield after their match against Bangladesh in ODI World Cup, and they were a lot disappointed. They just lashed out over all the administrators and the, staff over there. But I think this time around, they'll be appreciating the outfield there and the conditions there, isn't it, Sahib?
कुछ तो मिल जाएगा ना उनको. आउटफील्ड में नहीं मिला तो वो ऊपर मैक्लोडगंज में तिब्बत किचन में बोल देंगे खाना ज्यादा स्पाइसी कर दिया. अब उनका क्या है यार, मतलब ये तो मतलब like you can't just lead into. And that criticism actually started from an English player in the Afghanistan camp, right? Jonathan Trott was the one who set the
Yeah.
ball rolling when one of his players kind of injured. So wo to theek hai. That's like, I think we are used to, as Indian journalists now, seeing them like kind of crib over these things. But I don't think outfield is any of any concern. अब शेड्यूलिंग वुड्यूलिंग को लेके भी रोएंगे तो अब रोने दो, अब उसमें हम क्या कर सकते हैं. पर आउटफील्ड और पिच विच को लेके कोई ड्रामा नहीं चलेगा. वो एकदम वर्ल्ड क्लास इस टाइम सेटअप है. नो डाउट अबाउट दैट.
ओके, चलिए, तो जो लोग भी हमसे वेदर के बारे में पूछ रहे थे एंड आउटफील्ड के बारे में, आई होप यू हैव गॉट ऑल योर आंसर्स. साहिल ने एक्सप्लेन किया आउटफील्ड के बारे में एंड वेदर. वी गॉट great updates from Srini and Sahil, who are in Dharamshala right now. Srini, I didn't hear from you about the team combination. You were the one who's left to answer about what team India should do for this fifth test match. Would love to know your opinion as well. Would you agree to what Jamie said, 3 pacers and 2 spinners? Would request you to unmute yourself, and please go ahead.
Sorry. It's very simple. It's about the weather and how wet it remains, in the run up to the start of the test match and going forward. If it rains, if there's a chance of rain, again, as I said, and I heard Sahil say this already, and which is actually a very important point to note, that there is no guarantee that this test match is starting on the 7th. All right.
Hmm.
So if you keep that in mind, then again you're looking at possibly relatively wet conditions if that match is not beginning on the 7th. And if that's happening, then probably yes. I mean, you are looking at the possibility of Kuldeep Yadav not playing this test match, because the
Hmm.
wetter the ball, you'll need another pacer to go with, and kind of you'll definitely want to leave a Chinaman out. And I think then for me, it's that combination of kind of you just get your 3 pacers and you continue with everything else that's just been going properly, and you don't tinker with anything else. So that's about it. Just that one change, Kuldeep Yadav will sit. But as I said again, you have to still wait until the 6th and then see where it is going, and then see
Yeah.
what is the forecast like. But yeah, more or less that's what seems to be the case.
Okay, Jamie, this test match will be really special for two cricketers, one each from both the sides. One, obviously, our Ashwin. We talked a bit about our Ashwin, but would love to know a lot about Ashwin from you, given the way he's performed in test format. He completed 500 wickets in this series. Now the 100th test coming up from him for him, and now let's also talk about Jonny Bairstow. He'll also be getting his 100th cap in this format. How do you see both their journeys in the format?
Ashwin, if you go by stats, is India's greatest match winner at home. Many of us who watched the majority of Anil Kumble's test career, outstanding test career, will say, okay, hang on a second, but I'm not going to go into the quality of a batsman these days and the amount of helpful conditions that Ashwin played on because I have a lot of time for stats. And the stats say that he's India's greatest match winner with the ball. So full marks to him. He's endured a lot. He's still around. He's 37. No doubt he'll play the duration of the WTC cycle. How much further Ashwin plays beyond the 2025 cycle, I don't know, but I believe what Kumble has 619, Ashwin has 507.
Yeah.
100%. He's already said as much. He said, I would love to get as close to Anil Bhai's record. And believe me, when it comes to someone like Ashwin, I don't think the word never fits into his rather vast vocabulary. So outstanding that he's got 200 test matches. Like I said earlier, I would have wanted him to play in a slightly better venue because if the match doesn't start or the match is washed out, kind of a damp squib, literally and figuratively, on an outstanding career. In regards to Jonny Bairstow, I mean, he's been very, very good. A fact like someone like him is still around playing 100 test matches despite a lot of inconsistency. I mean, he's been dropped a lot. But like I said a few days ago, beyond Ben Stokes, if there was one English cricketer which comes to mind the moment you use the word baseball, it's Jonny Bairstow because okay, he's going through a wretched time now, but this guy kickstarted baseball. He was the first English player, along with Joe Root, to buy into it, at least on face value, because he smashed New Zealand, he smashed South Africa, he smashed us when we said 378, and we're like, "Arey, match to apna hai." It was Jonny Bairstow and Joe Root that made a mockery of Indian Test cricket in the first big match of baseball. So I'm sure he would have wanted to be in a much better space in terms of run scoring. But look, if you told me 10 years, okay, Jonny Bairstow would get to 100 test matches, I would have said, Kya baat kar rahe ho, yaar? So hats off to Jonny Bairstow.
There's another interesting fact about Jonny Bairstow, and Sahil, I would love, to see how you will be witnessing that in live at Dharamshala Stadium because Jonny Bairstow got his 100th ODI cap in Dharamshala, 100th test again in Dharamshala. Would love to see how Jonny Bairstow will be celebrating that up. And also what Jamie said, 10 साल पहले कोई पूछता तो पता भी नहीं होता. Now, among all the English cricketers who have got that 100th test cap, Jonny Bairstow's average is the lowest. So obviously it's a great, great journey for Jonny Bairstow to come to this level. But I want to know, and I would love to know from you once he reaches that mark, that how will he celebrate this 100th mark? Because a special place for him, isn't it? Dharamshala, 100th ODI cap, 100th test cap.
No, Jonny Bairstow has been really lucky to play 100 tests. I'll just put it that way. He hasn't been amongst the runs and the kind of returns he has had. I think the only thing which is working in his favor is that he was one of the first few players to buy into the attacking mindset philosophy. Again, I'll intentionally stay away from the word. He was probably one of the few players to kind of buy into that philosophy, stuck to it, didn't change his game, didn't mold his game enough.
Yeah.
Looked good on a couple of occasions in this series. Last game रांची में भी आपको कहीं ना कहीं वो flashes दिखे, but वो आपको दिख गया यार कि मतलब बहुत tired mindset दिख रहा है मेरे को तो मतलब कि हो गया अब 100 टेस्ट खिला के अब हो गया मतलब आप you're kind of stretching it for no reason मतलब you just don't want to stretch him because there are players who could make use of this opportunity. Just carrying him now, averaging in the late 30s, 100 tests. It's I think he's kind of on borrowed time right now, if you would ask me. Or he has been lucky. He's been very, very lucky to play 100 tests. वो किसी और country के अंदर नहीं खेल पाता. Just because he kind of synced in with this philosophy and went ahead with it without even asking a second question. And these are the kind of characters both Brendan McCullum and Ben Stokes like in the dressing room. कि हाँ ठीक
Yeah.
है, सीधे बल्ले से खेलते हो, रिवर्स स्वीप कर रहा है तो हाँ यही चाहिए अपने को, तो वो अपने को 100 टेस्ट दे दिया ना उसने. बट ऐसा नहीं है कि मतलब बहुत बड़ा कीर्तिमान हासिल कर लिया 100 टेस्ट खेल के, बिकॉज द नंबर्स आर अ वेरी डिसअपॉइंटिंग रीड, राइट? खेला 100 टेस्ट, आई थिंक इज लकी
Absolutely.
टू, yeah, he's lucky to play 100 tests.
Like from
इंडिया में
average to number of centuries, सबसे lowest जॉनी बेयरस्टो का ही है इंग्लैंड क्रिकेटर्स को अगर आप देखो तो.
इंडिया में 150 बार ड्रॉप हो जाता जॉनी बेयरस्टो ऐसे फॉर्म में जैसे था वो. मतलब इतना नहीं मिलता लॉन्ग रन जितना मिल गया उसको, और कोई बात भी नहीं करता. मतलब द वर्स्ट पार्ट इज नो वन इज नॉट टॉकिंग, एंड इफ यू आस्क द इंग्लिश कैम्प दे विल बी लाइक नो वी ऑल बिलीव इन हिज एबिलिटी, वी नो व्हाट ही कैन डू विद द बैट, एवरीवन नोज व्हाट ही कैन डू विद द बैट. द पॉइंट इज नॉट डूइंग इट विद द बैट. So you want people
Yeah.
to do something with the bat. We know what Ajinkya Rahane has done in his prime years, but he's not doing with the bat. That is why he's not in the team anymore. So similar logic
Yeah.
and sense should prevail in other countries too. But unfortunately, वहाँ पे intent matters. वो intent अंदर नहीं दिखता, पता नहीं कहाँ नेट में दिख रहा है, कहाँ दिख रहा है. अब देखते हैं यहाँ दिखता है कि नहीं दिखता. बट हाँ, कैप तो मिलेगा, फोटो तो खींचेगा.
और उसके साथ साथ आपको इंग्लैंड क्रिकेटर्स के कोट्स भी मिलेंगे जो जॉनी बेयरस्टो के लिए होंगे, वो भी काफी इंटरेस्टिंग होंगे. श्रीनी हैज टू से समथिंग. यस श्रीनी, प्लीज गो अहेड.
Bairstow is the kind of cricketer that reminds you, and kind of defending Bairstow is the kind of what comes to mind is how Captain Rahul Dravid would defend Virendra Sehwag in the last years of his career, where runs were not coming off his bat, and Rahul Dravid would come and sit in every press conference and he was asked why are you pursuing with Sehwag? What is it? And he used to say he's the kind of player on that one day when he gets going, he will get you the test match alone by himself. I think so. When England think of their approach in red ball cricket, in test match cricket, and when they look at Jonny Bairstow, and as long as he's like kind of fit and contributing, the mindset that they approach when they include him in their scheme of things, especially if look at Baz McCullum and Ben Stokes and where they're coming from. And the one thing that comes to mind is this approach where he may not be giving me what I want in every game, but I know for a fact that it's a lottery, because when he gets going, that test match is mine, because he's single-handed got the potential to win it for me. That's the approach, especially in conditions like India, so fickle. You don't know what to expect. You need that one lottery at any given point in time.
Okay. Well, in this live so far, we talked about Dharamshala's weather, which is going to be chilly and rainy. We also talked about Outfield, which is looking a lot better than what we saw in October 2023 when World Cup matches were on there. We also talked about our Ashwin and Jonny Bairstow. It's going to be a special test match for them. It's going to be their 100th test match. So a special test for both these players. And we all know what Ashwin has done for Team India. And we were just talking about Jonny Bairstow's current form and his form in the last 10 years or so. Well, let me tell you all that we will be talking about the team combination, the perfect 11, team's approach in the coming days, as the 5th test match will start from 7th of March. Today, as Sahil and Srini reached Dharamshala, so it was a perfect day for all of us to know about the weather, the outfield, and what's all going around there. So we had a word around there. But let's also take a few questions from our viewers. They are very keen to know a lot of things from you all. So let's get started with rapid fire round, and would request the first question. Okay, this one's for Jamie. Ash Anna will play his 100th test. Till when do you see Ashwin playing tests?
Yeah, I've already answered this question. I guess Priyanshu probably joined the live stream late. He's going to play at least until the WTC 23-25 cycle ends. He'll be pushing 39 then. He's already said that he hopes to get to Anil Kumble's mark of 619. But right now, looking at the fact that Ashwin is 37 and a half, India will play a lot of test cricket overseas, where unfortunately he rarely starts. 619 looks to me like a very, very distant figure right now. But hats off to Ashwin if he can last the remainder of the 23-25 cycle and hopefully get India to the final, and if he plays the final, hopefully he gets to add one more feather in his cap. But again, I think Sahil also mentioned this a couple of shows ago. Beyond 2025, very tough to predict how far he's going to go, because he does play the IPL. He doesn't miss an IPL match. 37, 38, despite being a spinner, that's a lot of cricket. When he's free, he goes and plays for TN, unlike some unnamed players. So it's while he doesn't play white ball cricket for India, he keeps himself very active in the TNPL and playing whatever chance he gets for Tamil Nadu. So Tough to answer that final part. And yes, India will never have a. I've said it. He's the forget India. He's the last cricketer in the history of this lovely game who will ever get to 500 Test wickets. It's a fact. It'll never happen again.
Well, yes. Also, this is a special series for our Ashwin 500 wickets in bank, and now all set to play the 100th Test match. Very, very special series for our Ashwin. Next question, please. Will surface retain moisture due to rain and cold weather, or will a couple of days of sunshine make a difference, Sahil?
See, there will be moisture. There's no doubt about that. With what's happening above, there will be moisture, but how long it will last depends on what they've done with the surface. And as I said, they haven't done much with the surface. They've left it as it is. जैसा रणजी के अंदर आपको दिख रहा था वैसा ही अभी दिख रहा है. तो जब तक वहां पे घास का हरकत नहीं होगा, वो मॉइस्चर से इतना इफेक्ट होगा नहीं. If the base is hard and true and firm, even moisture will just last for 30-35 minutes till the time sun beats down on the surface and it completely evaporates. So it completely depends how much we'll see the chill and nip in the air, and how long the sun is going to remain behind the clouds. As I wrote in my story for Cricket Next, like which went up like an hour back, it's going to be that test match where you'll see both teams being challenged in different periods by the different moods of Dharamshala, and it will ultimately boil down to the team which adapts faster. क्योंकि वो सिर्फ आधा पौना घंटा आपको डिफरेंट हरकत दिखेगा. और वो बड़ोड़ा वाले गेम के अंदर भी अगर आप स्कोर कार्ड देखोगे आपको ऐसा ही दिखा. वो शिवालिक शर्मा और शाश्वत रावत 188 and 200, उनके रन के अलावा only two other batters managed to enter double digits. So
Yeah.
clearly, if you don't apply yourself early on, fast bowlers will enjoy these conditions. Why wouldn't they? मतलब आप तो दौलाधार को देख के आपका रिलीज अपने आप अपराइट हो जाएगा ना पीछे से. और मतलब you can't get a better setting for a fast bowler, right? Shiny whites, shining red ball in the hand. This is what fast bowlers dream of, and the conditions are just kind of acting as a catalyst for just adding as a spring to the stride of these fast bowlers. But having said that, इतना आपको ऐसा कोई मतलब वो ये वेलिंगटन लॉर्ड्स वार्ड्स नहीं बनने वाला ओवरनाइट. वो पिच को उन्होंने पाटा बना के रखा है यहाँ पे. वो रणजी में रन बने. वो 61 ओवर्स में दिल्ली ने 360 रन किया था, उस दिल्ली टीम ने जो पौंडीचेरी से हार गई थी फर्स्ट मैच. तो आप अंदाजा लगा लो कि मतलब विकेट के अंदर क्या ही है.
Great. Okay. So we got to know about the pitch, the weather, and current conditions in Dharamshala. I hope, SK, you got your answer. Next one, please. If the series had been 2-2, BCCI would have been lambasted on schedule considering weather updates. But the fact, sports fan, is that series is 3-1. So हम इस बारे में बाद में कभी बात करेंगे. Let's just talk about the stats that we have with us, और जो अभी reality है. चलिए, next question, please. Will they take Aksar as he can bat and play with three spinners? Sahil?
I don't know. I really hope they continue with Rajat Patidar, because I've been saying that for a long time now. मतलब every show मतलब कि मतलब रजत पाटीदार को खिलाड़ी बनाना है तो एक मौका दे दो यार. खराब करना है तो मतलब this would have been Ranchi would have been the last we have seen of Rajat Patidar, because when KL Rahul and Virat Kohli kind of come back to the test scheme of things, and they will most certainly play the home test before playing the away series in Australia. So this could well be the last. Ranchi could well have been the last of Rajat Patidar if he doesn't play this Dharamshala test. So give him that opportunity and don't play Devdutt Padikkal at 4. I personally don't see any logic, because I think he's better suited for top 3 positions. So don't just push Padikkal at 4. Let Rajat Patidar get one more game, because you did give those many opportunities to KS Bharat too, right? So why indifferent treatment to Rajat Patidar? He looked good in his first innings and has been unlucky, I would say. But yes, that player has a lot of potential for sure.
Well, what we know is Patidar didn't get enough runs in his bank in this whole series, the opportunities that he got. Srini, do you see him in the 11 on 7th of March? Srini, you're on mute. Can you please unmute yourself?
No
and go ahead?
changing the squad. No changing the squad at all. No tinkering with the lineup. If you had to change, the only change will be Kuldeep will sit, and that too because the conditions are different. Otherwise, you're not going to change. You have won the series. You are going to give your players a chance. You've come this far. Why will you unnecessarily make the change? And for the sake of it, you don't have to test Aksar here because of another series coming up or anything of such. So there's nothing. I would rather go give Patidar the confidence that I'm ready to back him, If he's going to show me the potential, there is no need to change anything. The only thing is, you're going to look at a result in this test match, so you'll probably want to add some kind of pace impetus given the conditions, and that's why probably it may become necessary for you to, rest Kuldeep given the conditions. That's about it. So the only forced change would be Kuldeep Yadav. That's about it.
Okay. Okay, so got the changes and what can be possible lineup Team India against England in the fifth test. How will condition of Dharamshala play for spinners? Sahil, can you please go ahead with this one once again, and then would request all our viewers to ask questions around Indian lineup and other things because we have discussed about conditions a lot in this live so far. But once again, Sahil, how about the conditions for spinners?
No, as I said earlier too, and as Srini also said, Jamie also, there's still 2 days to go for the test, and a lot would depend how those 2 days kind of unfold. But having said that, it will be difficult. It will be tough work for spinners to kind of just, even for the finger spinners to grip the ball when it's that cold. First session, we are talking about 9:30. Even if they come into bowl around the lunch interval, अगर आप पहले bowling कर रहे हो, वो ठंड रहने वाला है यार, तो दिक्कत तो होगा. But it's not that they haven't done it in the past. So I would still prefer my finger spinners over the wrist spinners to give me the control and penetration which is required. But this pitch is not going to be the surface which we have seen is in the previous 4 tests. Hyderabad, Vizag, Rajkot, Ranchi, उनके तो करीब भी नहीं होने वाला क्योंकि ये conditions और ये venue उनसे कोसों दूर है, different altitude पे है. And this is probably for the first time where you will see the surroundings and the conditions dictate what's happening on the surface, क्योंकि आप you can't do much surface में क्योंकि आसपास the conditions are so kind of aggressive, no, when it comes to the
Yeah.
chill and the nip in the air, so you can't make a rank turner तो यार बन ही नहीं सकता ना. तो स्पिनर का तो मतलब ऐसा कोई आपको रोल दिखने नहीं वाला, मतलब एट मैक्स आप एक होल्डिंग रोल देखोगे और probably you will see Ashwin do something which he did in Ranchi where he kind of had that side spin in play. So you never know which Ashwin would turn up during this different period of Dharamshala test. So, but again, it's going to be seamers are going to dominate bulk of the bowling, and you'll see them enjoying these conditions just like it has been in the Ranji Trophy games. So it's going to be no
Okay.
different.
Okay. Next one, please. This one's for Sahil. KL Rahul is fit for IPL, not for tests. So why Iyer face backlash and different rules for KL? Okay, Sahil.
I think we wrote this last month only, right? That there were indications that KL did clear the fitness test after the second test, and but he did not feel good. That is the feeling which we got, that वो उसको feeling नहीं आया, and that quadricep pain became not passing the fitness test to staying just 10% away from match fitness. So all those things just didn't add up, and right now that quadricep pain has become a pain for everyone because we don't really know what's happening with KL Rahul. The reports that he's seeing a specialist, has seen a specialist, has checked into the NCA, will be out of the NCA. But all things said and done, he'll be playing the first game of the IPL. That is for sure, and that was sure even before the drama around his injury and the curiosity around his injury kind of reached level 101. That is not going to be. He's not going to miss any game of the IPL for sure until and unless he picks up a freak injury like he did during last season of the IPL. He was fit, but he just didn't get the feeling to undergo the test grind. And why different thing for Shreyas Iyer and KL Rahul? I think these are two different cases because यहाँ पे one player who the management knew has some kind of issue, तो वो एक different issue हो जाता है. But श्रेयस अय्यर का तो issue ही नहीं था ना, वो तो issue बन गया ना बैक स्पैज्म बैक इंजरी
Yeah.
का. और वो
Yeah.
इशू तो कई बार दिखा ना, वो जो फर्स्ट इनिंग में आउट हुआ वो इशू तो यहाँ है, शॉर्ट बॉल वाला इशू है, वो बैक इशू
Yeah.
नहीं है, वो अभी भी शॉर्ट बॉल वाला इशू.
Okay, but this is a very, very important question. I would like to put it to Srini because Srini, in almost each and every live session, we come across such questions where people do ask about, why different rules apply to different cricketers and why players are available for IPL but not for, India matches. And this question has again cropped up with the name of KL Rahul because he won't be there in the fifth test, but he will play IPL. So, as Ravi Shankar is saying, IPL is coming in 18 days. Now, each and every player will be fit and fine to play IPL. Why is it so?
Is Ravi Shankar sure that KL Rahul will start the IPL?
No, No, but I think what Ravi Shankar is trying to say is, and a lot many people
One second.
were echoing with Ravi Shankar is that why players are available for IPL matches but not for the national matches.
No, okay. See, it's a very lame debate now. After 16 seasons of IPL, we know why IPL is important. Let's not kid ourselves. The IPL is important for multiple reasons. It's obviously kind of too much money at stake here, and it is a career building exercise. Nobody wants to miss it. There are, you suddenly can't. It's not like, कि मेरे को जब मन करेगा मैं आईपीएल को प्रोमिनेंस दूंगा,
Mm,
मुझे जब मन नहीं करेगा मैं आईपीएल को प्रोमिनेंस नहीं दूंगा. Let me just simplify this for you. You expect your, the franchise owner to come and pay you $1 billion to own a franchise in the IPL. That money is coming to you, right? On what basis are you taking the money? In terms of guaranteeing the best of the talent being available at the opportune moment, right? So you can't eat the cake and then have it. So when you've decided
mm,
that you're going to run a property of that magnitude, you are going to make everything work in favor of kind of something like that working to full effect. So let's not get IPL. I don't like that discussion of IPL में क्यों और यहाँ क्यों नहीं.
mm.
Let's stick to the idea of bilateral cricket. Why? Have you seen this in the case of a Virat Kohli or a Rohit Sharma or an Ashwin or anybody, any Jasprit Bumrah, unless they are like injured and not really available? Have you ever understood why their contribution to international cricket or India squad has not been so good? And we've questioned it vis-a-vis we questioning the IPL and why it is up. We don't.
Mm,
When a
mm,
player gives this 100% out there, it is visible and we don't need to question it. But in the case of KL Rahul, for starters, the guy, I mean, the BCCI is saying he's not fit. What do you want to do? Like, question the BCCI's honesty here in terms of saying that he's not fit. Am I a bigger medical expert than whoever is saying that he's 90% fit? L- And as an outsider, I feel, I've never heard 90% fit, 92% fit. So it sounds a bit funny to me. But that
yeah,
said, they have said it's 10% unfit. So if he's 10% unfit, first of all, this test match is irrelevant. And KL Rahul is not going to suddenly come and prove himself as a batter in this irrelevant test match. You've got to kind of play with whatever set of players you have. That's been announced that he's not going to be part of the series. So why are we going there? Now comes this question. Every what IPL is coming in 18 days now. Every player will be fit and fine to play our IPL. Of course, they should be. The stakes are way too high. As I said, there is no questioning. To stop questioning the idea of how everybody becomes fit for IPL. Everybody becomes fit for IPL because that is the kind of cricket that is being consumed. You may not watch the IPL, but the numbers, the broadcast numbers, the people who are putting in money, that is proof that 75% of the cricketing world is watching IPL. That is what, no, there are no free lunches in life. People don't put money in a property which is not selling. It is selling, and that is why
mm,
people are bringing. And when that is happening, obviously the player will show his commitment there because again, it's a career building exercise. So there's no rocket science there. Commitment to test cricket, I don't think that's a question. I don't think that I will ever expect that kind of a thing to come in where top India cricketers are concerned. Having covered this space for so long, having tracked this space for so long, a cricketer eventually, if he's at a certain level of playing top quality cricket, he will want to play test cricket. There is no doubt about it. I do not doubt at all, for instance, KL Rahul's kind of the importance that he lays on red ball cricket going
mm.
forward. Especially how Rahul Dravid as a coach pursues him. I want to go back to that earlier question that mentioned Shreyas Iyer vis-a-vis KL Rahul.
KL
Why
Rahul.
Iyer faced backlash and different rules for KL? Why Iyer faced backlash has got nothing to do with why KL Rahul is not playing the test match. KL Rahul is not playing the test match because again, they said that he's, as I said, 90% fit and 10% unfit or whatever. He is not in the country. He's in the
Mm,
UK. He's gone there to seek medical help. There is a chance that he may need a minor surgery, a rectifying surgery. Things are being worked out as of now. There is a chance that he may miss the initial matches of the IPL. So, Mr. Ravi Shankar, please don't be 100% sure. Wait till then. The franchise is trying to see that he joins in time, but there is a slight worry there, and they are trying to see how it can be covered.
Mm.
Why Iyer face backlash? That is again, as I said, between the team management and the BCCI. The way, as an outsider, I have been given to understand by the BCCI in terms of how they've announced, is the fact that Iyer was dropped from the test matches in this series, India-England series. The narrative that came out in the media is that he was not dropped, whereas he was rested because of back spasms. That when it came down to domestic cricket and Bombay wanted Iyer to participate, they asked for his fitness report. The NCA said that Iyer is fit. So maybe there was some miscommunication. The BCCI did not like it, and the BCCI is kind of underlined that maybe commitment is an issue that a cricketer will have to take far more seriously.
Mm.
That again, as I said, it will be unfair for me to again judge beyond this point what exactly went wrong between the BCCI and the Iyer and Shreyas Iyer. But one thing is very clear, given the nature of that statement, that Shreyas Iyer and what's his name, Ishan Kishan, will not be part of the BCCI central contracts. The BCCI obviously wanted to make that statement in order to rectify
Yeah.
certain wrong things. So that's that. I mean, if any clarity comes further officially from BCCI, we'll talk about it.
Okay. I hope Priyanshu and Ravi Shankar, you got your answers regarding KL Rahul and Shreyas Iyer. We'll take last question now. Okay. If India win toss, then they should opt for batting or bowling. Jamie,
Bat.
Sahil, bat. Srini, bat.
Win the toss, bat first, period.
Great. Okay. So there is your answer. Cricket lover, whatever his username was. Cricket is emotion. Okay, there's your answer. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining with us in this live session. We talked about weather, the conditions, and a lot many things. And we will be continuing our discussion around India-England fifth Test match as we go near to that date of 7th of March. Thank you so much, Jamie, Srini, and Sahil for joining with me.
फास्टेस्ट क्रिकेट स्कोर अपडेट्स या सबसे डिटेल्ड स्टैट्स,
क्रिकेट के अंदर बाहर की खबरें
या हेल्दी डिबेट्स,
सबसे एक्यूरेट एनालिसिस
या फैंस का क्रेज, सबके लिए एक ही प्लेटफॉर्म, क्योंकि क्रिकेट मतलब क्रिकेट नेक्स्ट।